Hello everyone and welcome back to my WoW Classic Overview. This is Week 5, and in Week 5 we're going into Gnomeregan. We're approaching level 30. Gnomeregan's about 28 to 35, I would say, level range. If you want to play it safe. You can go in a little bit earlier if you want to be risky, but I wouldn't do it. There's several quests to pick up, many of which are in the Ironform tram entrance area. I forget what it's called, like the engineering section there. You can grab a bunch from there. You can also make sure you pick up the one from the dude in Stormwind who wants you to go and retrieve some things, but we'll talk about that in just a second. We're here to really just to kind of talk about how I remember going through it and what it was all about getting in there. As you're entering into the dungeon, you need to take that elevator down to the bottom. Don't die to the elevator monster. It is possible. The dome will fall behind you if you try to jump onto the elevator as it leaves the ground and goes down. You will die to the elevator monster, so be cautious approaching the elevator monster. You don't want to do that. Alright, once you get downstairs, you will walk in and go to the left if you want to go straight to the instance. But before you do that, if you've been tasked to go get the punch card, I suggest you walk forward towards the north, the AKA train depot section, and walk around that section in a counterclockwise manner so that you can kill a whole bunch of little gnomies, and one of them will presumably drop the white punch card, which you can take up onto the platform in the center section of that area there, get rid of those trogs, and turn it from the white punch card into punch card A. While you're in that section, also head over to the west of that area there. You should be able to see it anyway, and you'll see one of the first bosses that you have to retrieve the core from, the Speckle Sprocket core. That guy's up there. So that boss is outside of the instance. You want to make sure you hit him up, and you want to make sure you get the white punch card and punch it to A before you head into the instance. All right. You can also, if you happen to have a vial for an eradicated villager or eradicated trog, you can find and vanquish an eradicated trog there. They'll turn green after you vanquish them. Click on them with your little vial. That's part one of that guy. You could head out, turn it in, and then get the second part to come back and head in to the instant itself, and that would probably save you more time, especially if your whole group is doing that. But if it's just you, progress on in and take care of things later on. So you head into the instance by turning left as you go in. All right, so you go into the instance and you go down the hallway. There'll be some trogs, and you need to start progressing again in a counterclockwise fashion. You'll come to the first entrance, which leads back into a dead end. There's a little gnome in there. She will be talking to you about some things, and the walls will collapse, and there's like a little bonus boss here. So you fend off the waves of trogs that come in, and eventually you can beat the bonus boss and get some bonus drops. What is vitally important is that you do not stand in the tunnel when she is blowing up the tunnel, because if she blows up the tunnel and you're in the tunnel, you will die, and nobody will have line of sight to you, so you won't be able to be rezzed. You'll have to run back from the graveyard and Karanos and get back up the way you came, right? I mean, it's not much of a run once you're back to the incident itself, but from Karanos it takes a little bit of time, so don't stand in the tunnel, ladies and gentlemen. Alright, so then you come back out this hallway, continue in a counterclockwise fashion around what is called the Hall of Gears, and you will come to the section where is the dormitory, right? So you can turn left into the next hallway and then head into the dormitory, and don't go into the cleaning section just yet. There's a whole little cafeteria area there where you can sell some things. You can clean crime-encrusted objects and things of that nature. Save that for when you're done. Come back after you're done and go in there and clean everything all at once. Trust me, you'll thank yourself in the long run. But you do want to head into the dormitory. So when you take the next left, after you've finished with the little Nomi who blows up the walls, you come out, you go counterclockwise around the Hall of Gears, go into the cafeteria section, we'll call it the dormitory section, but instead of going right and downstairs to the clean zone, stay to the left, clear out the trogs, head through the dormitory, and clearing out the dormitory, and look for an extra little bonus guy. He's a goblin. If you pick him up, he wants you to escort him back out to the instance entrance. So this is the time to do it while everything has just been cleared out. So escort him out, and then come back to this place. And then from the dormitory, head north into the Hall of Gears, down on the lower platform. All right, so now you will have worked your way downhill. You'll be in the Hall of Gears. In the Hall of Gears, you want to work your way around and vanquish the boss in there. And the best way to do that would probably be go clockwise down here. And it's an elemental that you need to beat. You could go counterclockwise, and then the entrance, or the exit from this section to the next section will be right there on your immediate left. But odds are, if you go right, you'll be able to clear out all those trash mobs, get some extra XP, pick up those artifacts that you need to pick up along the way, and get the boss that way. Alright, so now you're done with that boss. Head down the little Serpentine S chute towards the Hangar Bay. Once you get to the Hangar Bay, again, you could turn left if you want to take a shortcut, but again, I suggest you go right and go all the way around, again in a counterclockwise fashion until you get to the landing Hangar Bay, so you can go up into the center and fight the boss there. Don't forget along the way to be punching your punch cards. There's one that you needed to punch to get from B to C in the dormitory. All right, I almost neglected to say that. And then there's one, once you beat the Hangar Bay boss, there's one that goes from C to D there. B to C, A to B. I'm sorry, A to B, now B to C. All right, we'll get to the next one here in a minute. While you're going through the Hangar Bay, the NPCs have this weird mechanic where they like to pathfind around the entrance archways that are there, so be mindful of that. They'll go in towards the inner ring and then go around the thing and come at you, so you can bounce back and forth between the archways, walk back and forth between the archways if you're in a dire situation, and that'll help kite them a little bit. All right, so you beat the boss in the Hangar Bay, you get the drops, you advance your punch card, and then you can go continue counterclockwise around. You can drop down if you really want to. I wouldn't recommend it because some people aren't high enough level to survive the fall. But and most people don't know where to drop lest they aggro more mobs. All right, I suggest continuing counterclockwise until you get into the hallway that leads down and to the southeast. So you take that hallway, go down to the southeast, and you're going into the down into the southeast, and then you're going to go into the engineering labs. All right, so in the engineering labs, you can go around and find the Clobbermatic 5000 or whatever it's called. You can beat that guy, and you can go down into the lower section of the engineering labs. And then there's a small pathway that... oh, wait, you should go to Tinker's first. Maybe not, but you can go to Tinker's Court last. Tinker's Court is probably the best way to go last. All right, so... because it's kind of basically the last fight. So after the engineering labs, there's a small hallway to the southwest that you can go through and navigate through that leads into a larger hallway that heads into the northwest. So keep following that until you get to Tinker's Court. When you get into the large hallway, you're going to start seeing some dwarf and miner dudes, and you're going to find Arcane, I forget what they're called, and those guys will cast this greenish hue on themselves and their companions. Do not cast at them or they will reflect your spells back at you. So the Arcane guide is probably the first thing you want to take down so you can really start casting. The dwarfs will drop little bombs on the ground, so you got to be mindful of the bombs. Either get away from them or destroy them. It's up to you. I would recommend both. Take the whomever's tanking, take the stuff away from the bombs, and let some DPS take down the bombs really quickly. All right, so then you come into the Tinkerer's Court. Tinkerer's Court's pretty simple. For the first half of the fight, you're going to be tanking him and fighting him per normal. Little bomblings around the courtyard. These mouths are going to open, which are kind of cool, but you press the button to close the mouths. So when the mouths are open, bomblings come out. When the mouths are closed, they cannot. So it's up to the ranged DPS to kind of, and healers to kind of make sure those mouths are closed. About halfway through the fight, I would say that's when the Tinkerer starts to aggro whomever he aggroes. So it is what it is. It becomes chaos. So you got to beat him up and knock him down and be done with it, and then you're all done with it. And then once you're done with that, take that little path back up through the engineering courtyard and back up to the outside from the engineering labs to the northeast, and you can fight through some more mobs and take what is quote-unquote the back door of the Gnomeregan. And then once you've left the back door, you can kind of skirt back into the front door a lot easier and avoid the mobs that might be respawning if you come back through the normal way. Get back to the dormitory, clean up all your stuff, then hearth out of there. That's the way I do it, and that's the way I've done it. All right, so that's Gnomeregan. Next week, we're going to be about mid-30s. We'll see what we do next. I think I've completely passed RFK. I apologize for that, but maybe I'll skip in there and do a little review for that as well. Until next time, my friends, thank you very much for following along with me, and I will see you again real soon. Bye-bye.